During this time of isolation, I've had nothing but time to just think. For a long time, it was just me, checking the list and delivering the presents. I can barely remember where this all started. In my earlier years, I lived in Myra, Turkey, born to a wealthy family, and I never wanted for a thing, though I tried to live as normal of a life as I could. I used to love walking through this marketplace on my way home from my studies. There was this one stand, and I had to stop by there every day. It was this little trinket shop. And there was this little shopkeeper. He stood no more than 4 feet tall. But it seems there was something new there every day, and it was magnificent. The children, they would gather around the shop, and many of whom couldn't afford the trinkets, so I must have purchased all the trinkets just to hand it out to the children, just to see them smile, and it brought me joy. Over the years, me and the shopkeeper, we gained a very close friendship. He confided in me that he was an elf and his name was Thalorian, and our friendship grew stronger and stronger each day. Our routine continued for many years, and I became somewhat of a local legend, especially amongst the children. But one day, as I was walking to Thalorian's shop, I saw it was abandoned. I must have searched the whole marketplace looking for answers. I was so confused because for 9 years, I would meet him at his shop and give out toys. I asked the other market owners what happened, and they told me he was imprisoned. The emperor of the time was hunting down mythical creatures because he feared that they would overrun his empire. There was no way I would let a friend of mine rot in prison, or even worse. I rushed to the jail and I begged for his freedom. I pled. But there was nothing I could do, no price I could pay for his freedom. I was devastated. I managed to find Thalorian's cell window, and I asked him, is there anything I could do, any way I could help you escape from this prison? Through the night, we came up with this amazing plan. He told me head to his workshop. He said, on the wall, look for a green sash belt. I must admit, at first, I was in awe. I was enamored by his workshop, something I can only dream of. I head back to the prison. He said, put the belt on your waist and touch your nose. I did. I turn into dust and I reappear inside of his jail cell, and we escape. Things weren't bad forever. Some years after the wrongful imprisonment of mythical creatures, there was a new emperor, and he embraced all things magic. Anyone who was locked up under the previous emperor's rule was set free as long as they had non-violent charges. Thalorian and I continued to make toys for the good kids of Myra, and he also introduced me to other elves that love making toys as well. We added on so many elves. So many elves, in fact, that Thalorian's shop, we simply outgrew it. So we ended up building another toy shop in Myra. Thalorian introduced me to the wise court of elves. He said they were so impressed with the joy I was giving to children, they just had to meet me. And during this meeting, I found out that I was half elven on my father's side. That was such a shock. Also, during this time, I met and married the love of my life, Mrs. Claus, or as she was known back then, Holly, daughter of Krampus. The wise court of elves was so impressed, they agreed to send me as many elves I need just to make sure that the children were happy. And also to help me get around, they sent me 8 magic reindeer. Life was good. Toy production was at an all-time high. It took us 38 years to figure out the most effective way to deliver all the presents in just one night. While the toy production was going up, my age started to catch up to me. 75, a glorious year. But I could feel this is my last Christmas. Before my last voyage, I thanked everyone for all the wonderful years we shared together. I gave everyone a gift. When I returned from my last trip, I headed straight to bed and held Mrs. Claus's hand till I drifted off to my last sleep. I was greeted by the wise court of elves in my dreams, thanking me for spreading joy to the children over the years, offering me eternal life. I took it. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I was 24 again, like I was that kid who used to run around the marketplace. Me and Mrs. Claus, we must have walked for hours just talking and enjoying the sun. And me and DeLorean, we must have made 100 snowmen. Over the next 1,000 years or so, everything was good for the most part. The world was evolving. In 1874, the Universal Postal Union started, and I started receiving letters from children all over the world. So, needless to say, we had to further expand our delivery routes. Along this journey, I met the other holiday heads, including my good friend Lucky. That little fellow. The legend of Santa Claus began to spread worldwide thanks to this wonderful Christmas story. The cartoonist got my likeness wrong, but I did like the red suit. The workshop continued to grow and thrive, so much so that Mrs. Claus suggested we find a new place to call home. She suggested the North Pole since it was secluded and there was enough room for everybody. I wanted another opinion, so I talked to DeLorean. He said he doubted the wise court of elves would approve because they control the area. After talking to DeLorean, I went back to the bedroom to talk to Mrs. Claus. When I returned, I just found a letter. The letter said Mrs. Claus and Krampus went up to the North Pole to talk to the wise court of elves. To this day, I don't know why or what happened, but they imprisoned Krampus and Mrs. Claus barely escaped with her life. I was furious. I was never a violent man, but I knew I had to rescue Krampus. And that meant war. I asked DeLorean to help me in this fight, but he said he couldn't. He said Mrs. Claus' story didn't seem right. I was furious, blinded by anger. This was the worst fight me and DeLorean ever had. DeLorean and half the elves left, and the remaining elves and Krampus warriors prepared to go to war with the wise court of elves. We were at war for 2 years before we came to some sort of agreement. The whole thing was pointless thinking back on it. What did I gain? Where there was love to turn to fear. I'm sure we could have came to some kind of understanding without fighting. And maybe I wouldn't have lost my best friend. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. The wise court of elves conceded and made me the new ruler of the North Pole. I heard the elves called it the Great War of the North. I hate that name. We began construction on a new workshop. It was bigger than ever, but it felt empty. And I can sense the elves' growing disdain for me. And I couldn't blame them. Look at what I put them through. This pointless war, this move, I made them pick between their family and friends. Speaking of friends, I think I missed DeLorean most of all. We started this together, and it never felt the same again when he left. A few years ago, a strange but familiar presence appeared. And at first, I didn't recognize who he was. I've made so many enemies over the years. But thinking back on it, it can only be... It's time to go.